In the early 80s, Benjamin Libet designed an elegant experiment to help us understand the mechanism of decision-making in the brain. This is the Libet experiment. All I have to do is watch the spinning dot and click a button whenever I feel like it, then report to the scientist at what time I felt the urge to click. Meanwhile, my brain activity is being monitored. Most of us would assume that our choices register as an increase in brain activity and result in us clicking the button. But what's actually observed is a build-up of brain activity, called the readiness potential, a full second earlier than the conscious urge to click. This has been replicated hundreds of times.
What are the implications of this kind of experiment?
So, the folk definition of free will is that your mind controls your body, meaning that your mind is free to decide what to do and send the command to your body. But when you consider the Libet experiment, it means that conscious intentions, instead of being the cause of motor preparation, is the consequence of an antecedent brain activity. So it challenges this dualistic view of mind-body causation.
And so in my group, we've gone back and redone all the Libet experiments very carefully, and we find that you get a readiness potential even in the absence of a motor act, like doing this versus that, if a person expects something to happen. So my own guess is that the readiness potential is tied up with expectation or anticipation that something is about to happen.
Perhaps. So, in fact, at the moment, it's very difficult to know the exact way of, how it works exactly.
The experiment is over. My mind is no longer the controller. Rather, it's firmly seated in my conscious brain, guiding and responding to whispers from my subconscious. Right, I'm hungry. I need some food.
If you assume, there's only natural things in nature and there's nothing supernatural, well, events in the brain, including those events that lead to your conscious deliberations, have to have preceding events that perhaps were not conscious. But that doesn't mean that those events are causal.
But probably we can say that a lot of our decisions, even not all our decisions, are the result of a prior brain activity. And as an example, there is an elegant study by the team of John Dylan Haynes who showed that by using neuroimaging measurements with MRI scanner, you can actually predict what will be the decision of participants before they are actually conscious of having taken that decision.
This begs the question, how can we have free will if our unconscious brain is making decisions before we do?
Oh, okay, so let me get to the issue of the unconscious. So I don't deny that unconscious processes affect the decisions that we make.
But the unconscious is not unintelligent. The unconscious guides us in ways which is itself responsive.
Okay, go ahead, sure.
So we have to make a distinction between picking and choosing, or proximal acts of choosing and distal acts of choosing.
That is, decisions that require less effort, like picking oranges in the supermarket, are easily done by our subconscious, while our conscious mind can focus on more complex tasks, like whether to accept a job offer, or what to cook for a dinner party, and who to invite.
I think a lot of our decision making is playing out in this internal virtual reality of our imagination. And we spend about half of our waking day there imagining this versus that. And some of those imaginings or deliberations are not terribly consequential, like whom to invite for dinner. Others are very consequential, like whom should I marry? Or what country should I live in? And I want to argue that our internal virtual reality of our imagination is where free will is really active. It's not picking, as in the Libet task. It's really an issue of choosing consequential decisions.
Right, I'm still hungry. I'm back at the beans. But I'll take some time to avoid any unconscious bean-based biases I may have and deliberate on which to buy.
If you want to call free will just our capacity to make intelligent decisions, which is hugely impressive, then I have no problem with that. In that case, you'd want to say, we have lots of free will, other animals have some.
Even a tiger can weigh its options. So we have this sort of first order deliberation in common with a tiger. However, in addition, humans have this sort of higher